This is the Windows 10 tips and tricks and just general tech talk that Dave Gerber normally hosts. But Dave has had some eye surgery and pain, and he can't see out of that eye. And he may still join us, but he's on heavy medication and in a lot of pain. So he asked me to fill in. I'm Hewie Poplock, if you don't know who I am. And I ought to change my name there. Let me do that now. Here comes Leah, but let me find my name here. There we go. Now you know who I am. So Dave generally doesn't have topics that he talks about, so I didn't do any pre-planning. And he just takes questions, and then we kind of go from there. And it was Tom, you had a couple of questions, you said, so let's start with one of them.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I recently rebuilt my desktop computer, and in the process of doing that, I added a new solid state C drive and reloaded Windows 10 and had them add Office 365.
Okay.
So I'm just now getting used to there's some subtle differences in what it used to be versus now. One is when I open File Explorer, it used to give me a very detailed list of things that were on here, including the different drives and that sort of thing. Mine is opening now with that information, but it seems to default to the quick access files, the recently opened files. How do I control that? How do I change it from quick access to desktop, for example?
Okay, well, let's take a look. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And so we're going to open up I'm going to open up first my computer, or this PC, I guess it's called. But if I do have, let's see, I can close that up, which is File Explorer. So let's go ahead and look at my documents folder. Let's see, let me move this.
Yeah, make it full screen.
Yeah, hang on, let me hide the floating meeting. No, let's see, I want to hide this, move this over here. Should be off the screen now, and full screen this. Doesn't make it any bigger, but well, I miss some of the top part. You may be able to see it, but I can't. So I'm just going to make it bigger. And this is how you can resize if you don't want it full screen. Now, because I have a menu at the top here and I don't want it to cover up part of what we have. So what you're saying over here is the quick access here, correct? What you're seeing? And
yeah, actually on the left column, I got straightened out. It's what's in the center and right. It used to be everything. For example, if I, well, like I said, when I open it up straight from the toolbar down at the bottom, it defaults, it comes up, File Explorer comes up, and it is in quick access. So it only has my
so it looks like this.
Yeah.
Maybe. All right. Well, there's a lot. Yeah. Whenever your default usually is, it remembers what you were last doing, how you last had it set up. So you want to make sure it's that way. So let's look. This is easy access. Map is, let's see, I'm not sure. You can, okay, you can have this. You can turn, you see there's a little arrow there. You can turn that on and off. But you said you've got this left-hand column.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna narrow it down so you don't see all my OneDrive and you see my desktop here. But what you wanted to do is you wanted to open, say, in documents, correct?
Yeah. Or in other words, I don't know that this is a major problem. It's just different than the way it used to be and what I was comfortable with, you know?
Okay. Notice I went from, we were in home here, and I went to view. With view, you've got some choices here. You've got the navigation pane, which is what we're in here. You have a
Yeah,
preview pane where you can have a preview over here. You can have a details pane, which gives you information. So there's different panes. And you can change what this looks like here. You can have medium icons, content, list. So
yeah,
I am not, so is this where you were having a problem?
yeah, and that's exactly what I'm looking for. Now I noticed that the left-hand column of choices here,
Right
I,
here,
yeah, if I hit this PC, I come up to what I'm familiar with seeing from the last build. Okay,
like
uh,
this.
yeah,
But again,
so
that's in details. You can have different views here too.
yeah, okay, I think that kind of sorts that out for me. I was just wondering why it
As
defaulted to access.
I believe if I get out of this right now, so right now it's in this PC, let's make it um, medium icons. And then if I close it and then open it again, it remembered what I was at. Now, if I open up the folder, if I open, let's see, let's go ahead and close this. And now if you have the folder here and you click this,
Yeah.
it still remembers, it's still doing it the same way.
Okay. I just
So,
closed mine. I had it on this PC. I just
uh-huh.
closed it and then reopened it, and voila, I'm back at quick access. So there must be some default setting somewhere.
Yeah.
This is not the end of the world. I can play with it a little bit. I don't want to occupy the entire meeting with that particular.
Okay. Let me go ahead and stop my share. Sally Ann Maury is with us from Seattle, and she does some Windows teaching for the a user group out in Seattle. Sally, any comments, or can you add anything to what we were just talking about?
Not, no, I think I've discovered the same thing that you showed. It goes back to what you opened before. So I'm
Yeah, and
afraid I
his
can't.
yeah, and his isn't. His is defaulting to something else.
Yes.
I've had to do some research on that, Tom. I'm not sure.
Okay. Like I said,
Okay,
it's not the end of
okay.
the world.
Well, you can change it though very easily and quickly.
Yes.
The way I
Yeah.
was doing,
Yeah.
and it should it's supposed to remember it.
Yeah.
Uh, is somebody else? Tom, we'll come back to you for the second question here in
Sure.
just a minute. Let's see if
Yeah.
there's somebody else has a question first. Anna, you look like you're about to ask something, but not quite sure how to phrase it. You're muted.
No, I'm not. I have a question. Those pins that are, when you had it under quick access on the screen you had, there were
Okay.
like pins. Do those pins have anything to do with it? With
Uh,
Oh, go ahead and open your quick access.
yeah, right. You can pin them to the this quick access means I'm going to get to that real easily. So if
Okay, okay,
so if I unpin, let's see, I don't want the Google Drive pin there.
right,
Uh,
okay.
let's see. I can't remember how you right mouse
Right,
click maybe.
right click.
Yeah, unpin from quick access.
Okay,
And so as soon as that, it's not in my quick access. So you
got it.
can add anything to your quick access. So let's say I want the STUG folder to always be pinned in there. So if I go to my documents folder and I go to my STUG folder here, and I'm going to right mouse click, and I am going to pin to quick access. So now my STUG
Got
folder
it.
is pinned.
Okay.
But the quick
And
access
another,
is just that. That's something that if you want to get to something really quick and you go to it often, you can get it down to whichever folder or subfolder that you want it to be, and you just pin it
okay,
and it will automatically be under the quick access.
okay, thank you.
So if I want to unpin that, I right mouse click and I can unpin it and it's no longer there. Okay, any other questions? I guess we didn't spark any. Okay, Tom, your second question.
Okay. Um, as part of this whole process of rebuilding the PC, my original configuration included two hard drives. One was the C drive, a 500 gigabyte, and then
Okay,
the um, the D drive I was using for storage,
okay,
pictures, and whatever, and it too 500 gigabytes. Well, when it was built, the system generated an F drive, which was called System Reserve. It was a 99.9 megabit drive, and I suspect it had the operating system or something in there. It just doesn't let me get into it to cause
you don't
trouble.
want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had the drive rebuilt. I had the box rebuilt, and I added a solid state C drive,
Okay,
500 gig. And I moved the original C drive to a new position that's now called the G drive.
okay.
But when I bring up my screen for the this PC and it lays out everything that's there, I still have this system reserved F drive showing up, and I have no idea where this thing is. I've tried to delete it. I've tried to reformat it. I suspect it's a partition, maybe as part of the old C drive.
I'm guessing it's probably a partition to help that if you have to if you have to go back to factory fresh, that's where the original information is kept. And I
Well,
just don't worry about it. Don't try to access it, and don't.
I did,
It's
and I
yeah.
got rid of whatever I could on it, and I just cannot get into it now. But it is not part of my new C drive, which is where
No,
the
it's
operating.
probably it's a separate partition, and it probably has some bootable information that if your system gets locked up and you have to say uh, 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 reinstall Windows, that's where it was getting the information from.
Yeah.
And if
All
you've
right.
deleted something, it may not work.
Yeah. Okay. That's pretty much all the questions I had.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions? Yeah, we talked about the File Explorer at the last meeting, but let's go ahead and go back to it. Let me share my screen again. And this was my File Explorer. There's a lot of things you can do with it. And I think I mentioned it the last time. It does sort them alphabetically by folders at the top and then down at the bottom, individual files. But you can change the order of any of these and sort by any. So if you've got the name, if you want to hit it again, now we're starting, let's go back up to the top. Now we're starting with the files starting at the end of the alphabet and working down. And then once you get to the end of the beginning of the alphabet, then it starts the folders starting again with Z and working down. And to reverse that, I just click that again, and it's now gone and made them alphabetical. You've got the status, and that really doesn't tell you a lot. I don't think I've got anything marked under status, but you got date modified and type. And let's go down to where the files are. And it'll tell you these are all zip files, so it says compressed. By the way, I can also change this, bring this out a little bit so I can read everything that's saying. Notice like under the JPEGs, it says Irfan view JPEG file. Well, on yours, it may just say JPEG file, or it may have a different program. That has to do what your default is. Because this is my default for a JPEG is Irfan view, which is a program. If I click on this, it brings up that picture in a program called Irfan View. So if it says something else there, that's the program that's set as the default. And you can go into your Windows settings. And what we're going to do is come over here to settings. And under applications are your default apps. You'll see it right here. And I have some various ones, but if it also says choose your default apps, let's see, apps and features. I got to remember where it is. Okay, it's under apps and features. These are all the apps that I have installed, and you can see I've got a lot. But I'm looking for the default apps, and I want to see reset, choose apps by file type. There we go. It's going out and looking at all of them, and it's going to build a list. Oh, it's thinking, there we go. So it knows these are all the different extensions to your files. And I'm going to show you, you may not have extensions turned on, so you may not even see these. But what it does is it matches any particular extension, which is after the dot. So if the file name is, let's say it's something .exe, then the extension is exe, and then you would have to find it over here. So you can see that some programs have many different extensions that it will find. So let's see if we can come down here. The VLC media player, for instance, can look at all of these, and that's my default. Well, if there's no default for the program, it'll come up and say, what do you want to open it with? But if I have an MSG file, because it's set to be the default program is Outlook, if I come to an MSG file and click on it, it will open it up in Outlook. As you can see that there are several. Now, how do you know what the extension is? Well, notice that all of my files here have an extension. These are JPEGs. And so it's saying, well, you've got that associated with, when I say you, me, I have it associated with Irfan View JPEG, and it's a JPEG file. Now, if you don't see that, that's a setting that you have to change. And by default, Microsoft doesn't have them show. So as I go into the File Explorer and I go to View, you'll see here, file name extensions, I have it marked. If I untick that, all of the .jpeg go away, and all I see is over here. Well, I don't know that that's a .jpeg. So I want to always make sure that's clicked on. And by default, Microsoft doesn't have them turned on. Isn't that nice of them? So you could have 2 or 3 files with the same name, but a different extension. For instance, I do PowerPoint. I'll do a PowerPoint, and I'll save that same PowerPoint as a PDF. It'll have the same name, but it's 2 different formats. And if I don't have that turned on, I can't tell which one is which unless I look over in this column. And if I haven't really associated something with it, I don't know which one's which. And so you want to have that file name extension turned on under View. And that will make a big difference. Let's see, what else? Oh, I wanted to show you, you can add columns. Let's say I'm looking at here, and what if I wanted to add columns? Notice I have status, date modified, type, and size, and there's check marks next to them. I could have date created, who the authors are, if there were any tags, title, and then I could choose some other column. I guess create some other columns. So if I've got status on there and I don't know what that means, if I didn't want that anymore, I just have to untick that. That column went away. Now you might ask, what difference does size make? And why would I want the size? Well, sometimes you can tell whether it's the file you're looking for because it's got a large file size or a very small file size. Or if you're looking for something and you know it's a very large file, just sort on the size and it will start out with the largest one at the top and then go down. So you can sort by size sometimes to find what you're looking for. And the same thing with date modified. Well, this has got it all mixed up. I want to find what the latest one was. If I do a date modified, the last one time this file was updated was 5/31, which was just 5 days ago. And these were in the last month in this particular folder. These were back in September, but they're all grouped by date. So if I change one of those, if I modify it, it will change the date on it as well. And I like to sort by name, and I want to make sure that I'll go to the top of the list, that I have it alphabetical, and I do. Now you'll also notice here at the top, I have presentations and website development. And they are at the top, even though this is alphabetical. But if you'll look, I have an exclamation point just in front of the name. And the reason why I do that is when Microsoft sorts something, it is sorted by symbols first, then numbers, then letters. So I'm doing the symbols, so the symbol happens to be an exclamation mark. So that automatically, I force those to the top. The next one is a number, which is 2001. And that was a folder on some things. If I click on it, these are things, well, the dates are modified is because I updated the hard drive back last July. So that's when these folders, but if I go into the particular, let's see, if I go into zip files, you'll see that a lot of these files are back to 2000, the year 2000. So sometimes the dates, if you've updated like Tom just did, he just put a new hard drive in and he created new folders, even though it's the old folder and he's putting older files in it, it's still going to have the date modified for the folder as the date he created the folder. Now, going back again, let's see what else I can tell you about this. So I say it's sorted alphabetically, and it's, let's see. And if I click on any one of these, let's go to the STUG one, just because I know I got several subfolders, but not a lot of them here, but let's go to my STUG folder. I've got a lot of folders, and then I've got a lot of files down here at the bottom. And again, I have them by right now alphabetical, but if I sort them by date modified, the ones that I have done most recently float to the top, and same thing with the folders, they float to the top alphabetically. 5/31 were the things in this folder were updated just a few days ago, and I can go back to 2016 where I have some things. And same thing with type. If I want to keep all of the Word documents together, I want to keep all of the JPEGs together, I can sort by the type. I did cover this last month a little bit. I'm trying to cover it a little bit differently this month, and you may not have been here last month. So did I make that clear? Did anyone have any questions about that, or anything you want to add to a question about it?
Yes, this is Dave. What's the best way to delete a file in a folder when you no longer need it? Is it worthwhile even deleting a file in a folder?
That's up to you. If you delete it, it's gone, and it goes into your, it generally will go into your trash bucket for about 30 days. And I think then Windows automatically may delete it and may not. But again, if I share my screen and come back here, if I got to be careful what I delete here. But if I, let's see, I'm just trying to think of something where I might have something in place that.
Well, even photos, sometimes I want to delete photos. I do.
Okay, well, all right, let's go to my photos folder, and I got a lot of them out there. Go to my pictures, and I have all kinds of things, but I've got some here that are random. Okay, here's one of a statue that I was doing for somebody's presentation, I guess. And it doesn't, I don't have TIFF files associated with anything. So when I click on it, it says, okay, what do you want to open it with? And so I get some choices. And some of those choices may work and some may not, but it gives me several choices. Let's open it up with Irfan View. And it's a statue. It was for somebody's presentation. They had me. So I don't need that anymore. I'm going to right mouse click, or I could just hit the delete button with it highlighted. I'm going to say delete it. and it's gone. Uh-oh, I didn't want to delete that. Well, how do I get it back? Well, what I'm going to do is come up here to the recycle bin and double click on the recycle bin. Bingo, it's right at the top of it because it's the last one I deleted. And if I right mouse click that, undo delete. If I undo it, and then I go back to the folder, and I got to remember which folder it was in now. Which folder was it in? I don't know. Pictures. It was just in pictures, I think. So let's.
Yes, picture.
Yeah. So let's go back to pictures, and it was statue, right? So I may have to refresh this. Let's just go with this and then go back to pictures just to make sure it sees everything again. And come down here, and there's statue.tiff, and it still has the original date. I just restored it.
Okay.
Now, if it's a really big file, it may even come up and warn you saying, this is too big a file to go in the trash, and it's going to be deleted forever, which means you're not going to get it back. There are some tools out there that might, in an emergency, somebody might be able to get back for you, but in most cases, once it's been emptied out of the recycle bin, or if it doesn't go into the recycle bin, you can't get it back. But once in a while, when you make a mistake, that's the best way to get it back. Now, sometimes it just disappears, and that's because you're moving it. You're moving your mouse around, and let's see if I can give you a good example. I'm going to go. Let's see. I'm going to open this up and find a folder. Okay, there's an Avast folder there. Let's say by mistake, I'm dragging this and I'm going to drop it somewhere, and by mistake I just drop it, and I dropped it in here. If I go to the Avast folder, there it is. Now, if I right mouse click it, I don't see any. Yeah, it says restore previous versions. That's not what I want. I want to move it back because I made a mistake. I caught it right away. What can I do? Well, I don't see anything here, but if I do a control, I'm going to hold the control key down and hit the letter Z. Bingo, it went away. And let's go back to where we were. And let's see, is this the right folder? Probably not, because I think I moved away. But let's go ahead and go back to pictures. That's downloads. Come on. I have too many folders, don't I? I don't delete anything. Pictures. Come down here. And there's statue.1tf. So if I delete this by mistake, again, I'm going to just sit right here and I'm going to hit delete. Okay. Where'd it go? There it is. I'm going to hit delete. Uh-oh, I didn't want to delete it. So I hold the control key down, hit the letter Z. Z is in zebra. And bingo, it should be back. Yep. It's down here at the bottom now. And next time I do anything, it'll put it back in alphabetical order. So sometimes if you delete something, if you do a control Z, it'll bring it right back. And that works in a lot of things. Let's say I'm in Word, for instance, a Word document. And do a blank document here, new blank document. And we just say, okay, I have this here, and I highlight this, and I hit the delete key. Oh, I didn't want to delete that. I hit that by mistake. That wasn't the key I wanted. I hold the control key down and hit the letter Z as in zebra, and it brings it back. Now, if I start doing something else, it may not bring it back. But if you catch it right away, control Z is undo. So that's CTRL. Whoops, I'm doing it right in the middle of the word, aren't I? Hang here. CTRL plus Z is undo. And Control A is copy, is all. Control C is copy, and Control V is paste. V is in Victor. Those are some keystrokes that I remember going all the way back to the 1980s when I had software. It's pretty much universal in most software programs. So those controls generally work in most programs. So it's Control A to do all. So if I do a Control A, you'll see everything gets highlighted. If I do a Control C, as in Carl, I copied it, and now if I come down here below it and do a Control V as in Victor, it makes it pastes. So those are some keystrokes you should remember.
Hewie?
Yes.
What is the difference between the picture folder and the photos folder? I get confused sometimes because I find photos in my pictures folder and I'm not sure what the difference is between the two folders.
An earlier version, you probably updated your computer from other versions of Windows before Windows 10. And I don't remember which version it was that had changed, but it used to be called My Pictures or My Photos, and now they call it Pictures. So as the default folder. So if you just updated the Windows over the years, you used to have a My Photos folder, and when you updated it, it created a Pictures folder, and they're just two separate folders.
Right.
Where your pictures are. And it's only because of different versions of Windows.
Right, but I also still have a photos folder where I have a lot of photos in there.
Yeah, you can keep it. It doesn't hurt anything.
Yeah. Thank you.
I have a question.
Sure, Leah.
Earlier this morning, I entered a website that I got from a piece of information I had. And it's a website that I want to go to, and I tried to bookmark it, but it would not bookmark it. And then I noticed that at the very beginning of when I got the website up, it said not secure. Is that why it would not bookmark?
I am not sure. I wouldn't think so, but I'm not sure why. When it says not secure, they haven't paid for the HTTPS.
It's supposed to be a public domain website.
Okay, well, let's just go to a website.
Okay.
I'm not going to be able to find one that's like that, I don't think, but
Okay.
And what browser do you use?
Viasat. I also have Google in there.
Well,
but
now,
I use Viasat.
is it Chrome?
No.
I
have a Google website, but I wasn't doing that. I could go to that and see if it works.
When I say browser, I'm asking for the program that you use to go to the web.
I use a program called Viasat, which is what used to be my Wi-Fi service. But I could keep the browser when I no longer have the Wi-Fi service.
No, that's not a browser. That may be the website you go to, but I'm not sure. But I'm doing Chrome right now.
Okay.
And let's see, let me just go to my website here. And I have the lock there. I don't know if I can find one that doesn't, but the bookmark, you should be able to just click here. Now, what might be happening is, how are you checking to see if it did get bookmarked?
I'm going to the listing of bookmarks I have on that browser and or on that.
You go to here for bookmarks.
Yeah.
Could you have a long list? Do you have a long list like this?
I have, well, mine's not quite that long. That was one of the things I wondered. Is there a certain limit you can have to bookmarks?
No, and the problem is, you'll see that mine has an arrow, little arrow down at the bottom when there's more.
Oh.
And there's also you'll see when I look at bookmarks is bookmark manager, and I have you can go in and check. So it may be in there, you just can't find it.
Okay, I'll go check it again. But
And you want to check, there's bookmarks and there's a bookmark bar that it could be in.
oh,
Now let's see, I have my bookmark bar, I guess, because I was doing some presentations, I shut it off. So I'm going to come here. Let's see, I got to remember how to turn it back on again. Bookmarks. Yeah, show bookmark bar, show a bookmark manager. So I'm going to show bookmark bar. And I have a bar here of bookmarks. And you'll see there's a double arrow there. When I click that, it opens the rest of them because they don't all fit on there.
I have that.
And then you just, if you add one, it will go to the bottom.
Yep.
But it may not be in the bar. It might be in your bookmarks. So I've got another one here. It says other bookmarks. These are different.
Oh,
So it could be in a different place and you're not looking in the right place.
okay. I will check that out. Thank you.
Anyone else have a question?
Hewie, I have another question.
Sure.
With regard to the discussions we had around the file folder,
Okay.
File Explorer, if you come across a folder, say documents or pictures for that matter, is there an easy way to determine if there are any duplicate pictures or duplicate documents?
There are programs out there that will find duplicate, but you could have more. For instance, I use the word cover when I'm do videos and I'm uploading them to YouTube. Each one has a cover picture that I want to have, and so I'll call each one cover, and I'll sort by those, and I may have 10 or 15, and they're all different. They may have the same name. So you have to be careful there.
Yeah.
And if you have cameras, you have multiple cameras or multiple phones, some of them use the DSC and then a number. Some will have an IMG and a number. And you could have more than one camera that will create the same file name. So sometimes that isn't an easy way. There are programs out there that you can use to find duplicates. And if you go to, well, since the Windows, let's go to let me go to share file. Yeah, sure.
And so you can look at duplicate titles, or can you look at duplicate content?
Yeah, no, content you're not going to find, but I'm going to go to the Microsoft Store.
Okay.
And search for find duplicate, and it says find duplicate files, and click. Oh, here's one that's free. It's only got 2 stars. There's only 6 people, so that might not be a good one to do. There are other ones here. Some of them cost money. Here's a free directory lister and so on. A deduplicator, that's got 3 stars, but only 5 people have. But here's a duplicate file remover, over 1,000 people. And that number is how many people have rated it, not how many have used it. And so let's go there and see what it says. We're not installing it yet. It says remove all identical files from your system when the complete media editor tool to separate your media files individually and delete their copies from your storage. The problem is if you got multiple files with the same file name and they aren't duplicates, it may remove some things you don't want to get rid of. So you have to be careful when you do that. Now, I use a program called Everything. And let me go ahead and bring that up. This is a free program, and it actually has gone out and it sees everything on my computer. You see it changing a little bit because it's adding files to it. But if I want to say, let's say I'm looking for something called cover, There's recover here, but let's see if we can find, let's sort by name, make sure that that's what we're sorting on. And we'll just come down to cover. These are all folders called cover, and they're all in different places in discovery, but let's come down to files. And let's see. Yeah, so I've got cover. All of these files start with the word cover. Let's see. Yeah, here's cover.jpg. And you'll see that each one has got different dates and times in different places. So let's just, out of curiosity, let's click on one. I have no idea what. So if this one is there, let's go to the next one. It's not really a duplicate, is it?
No.
But it's got the same file. So Windows is going to see that as a duplicate. So you've got to be very careful when you're using the duplicate finders if you do what I do. And that's name the same, each one of these is different. And you can see I got a lot of them, and then I got a bunch of other that start with the word cover. Now this program, everything, and let me tell you where you can get it about everything. This is the address, and what I'll do is let me go to it, and I'll copy this, and I will go to the chat box, and I'll put it in there. And there's a link to that program. And what you want to have is most likely is the download installer 64-bit. If you have a 64-bit computer, a PC. And I've been using this program. I started using it when I heard Mike Hutchinson talk about it at the STUG meeting when he had his help session just before the speakers would come on. And as you can see, when I don't have, let's see, this right now I did a search, but if I don't have a search, it tells me that I have 1,884,857 files or objects that it found. But if I then do let's say STUG, I'm down to 762 objects. And if I even bring it down to, Ann Ross, you're on here, so I put in Ross, Ross. Well, it's picking up the word cross as well, so it gives me a lot. But you can find things very quickly. And there's different ways in which you can search as well. I'm not going to go into, I can say, I just want documents. I just want executables. I just want pictures with the word Ross. And you can see that it's cross. There's a ton of those.
Does that look at emails like PST files?
No, it does not look within files.
Okay.
It's only the file names. So that's a program you can add yourself and utilize. It's a nice program. I probably ought to do a session on it and do a class on it or create a video because I use it all the time. And as I said, I picked it up. That's something I learned at a STUG meeting. So even I learned things at STUG meetings. I learned from you guys. You guys, every one of us does something differently. And sometimes the way you do it is quicker and better than me. I just got started the wrong way. And because I'm in the habit of doing it that way, I keep doing it. And some of you do the same thing. So, but some of you have shortcuts to do things that I never thought of or I just didn't do. So I learn at every meeting I go to, I learn a new trick or a new tip as well. Any other questions? Just trying to think, how about a topic that I can show you that I can venture off into some hints and tips and tricks, but I just can't think of what you might want some help with. Okay, let's try this. Let me share my screen again. And how many of you use the Windows menu? Probably not a lot of you. Let me show you a few tricks with this. Number one is along here, you will see all of your folders, all your programs. Some are folders, and then in the folders are pieces and parts of that program. So if I look at, say, Acronis, there's a drop down arrow and it looks like a folder there. And so there may be a whole bunch of things within that. But let's say I want to look up on something under W and I'm here on A. Well, I've got a lot. So I don't want to keep scrolling every time. If I click just the letter A, and I can do B if it was showing, we can take this and just make this smaller again. And I can come down to B, or I could just do the number, because remember, it sorts by symbol first, then by the alphabet. But if I click on the A, it gives me like a dial, a phone dial with all the letters of the alphabet. Now, the ones that are in bold means there's something in them. If I click on A, there is nothing with the starting with the letter H. But if I go down to W, it will show me starting with Windows and takes me right to it. If I do that again with the W, I can come back up and look at B, and there's all the B's, then the C's, of course, and D's. So it's an easy way to move around this just by using the dialer. I call it the dialer. It's like a phone dial, but it's letters. So that's one way.
I do use that sometimes.
Yes, and it's really handy. And again, these are all the things that you have installed. Now over here, it may not have all of the programs that you want. Now I was demonstrating something and I created this any PDF. So I'm going to say, I don't want that anymore. I'm going to unpin it from the start and it goes away. I didn't delete anything. It's just not in this menu. But let's say I want to bring it back. I can come up here, and that was called any PDF to JPEG. If I right mouse click that, there's pinned to start. When I click it, it put it down here. Now there's a lot of things I can do with it down here. I can just click and drag it and put it back up to where it was. I can move it. Let's move it back down here. I want to show you some things that you can do with it. Number one, I click it and it opens it. That's not what I wanted to do. So we'll open up the menu again, and it's down here. Now, if I right mouse click, I can resize it. Right now it's on medium. I can make it small, and it's going to look like this. And I could move that, so I could have several in one little box. Or if I want to resize it, I want medium, it's going to look like this. Resize it again. Wide, it's going to be wider. So I could move it up into this space right here, and it's going to be wider. And if I then, let's move it back down so we have room for it. And I move it here, and right mouse click and resize again. I can make it large, and it makes it really large. Now, let's say, let's just grab a couple of things here. Whoops, I didn't want to open that. I wanted to apply in. Okay, so let's say I'm just going to take, let's go ahead and unpin that from the start. And I'm going to take, under apply, and I'm going to take a couple of the programs that I have under there. I'm going to right mouse click that, pin that to the start. And I'm going to, let's see, pin that to start and pin that to start. If I look down here, those are those three. Now, if I take one of them and I move it over here, it's now got a little box here, and I take this one, and you'll see now, whoops, I just opened it by mistake. That's not what I wanted to do. But yes. And we got it here, and now I'm going to take this one, I'm going to drag in on there. Now if we click that, now we've got three of them in there. And if I want to right mouse click this, I can resize it, but I can also, let's see, there's a way of naming it. And I got to remember how to do that. I don't usually do it. Name folder. Okay, let's call it applying, which is what it is. So it gave a name. Oh, yeah. Well, let's see here. So they're all there, and it gives and it puts the name in that box. So I can put things together. So if I click on this one or this one or this one, it'll open up that particular program, but it'll put it in one group. And then if I don't want any of that, I can just unpin the folder from the start. They all go away. Or I could have taken each one out. Let's go ahead and do a Control Z. Remember I did that? Is that going to work here? It's not going to work.
Huey, can you full screen that?
You're talking about this? What you can do is you can make it bigger, and you can bring it down. So you can resize it, if that's what you mean by full screen, and make it so it's not as, so you have to scroll down. So if you've got a lot of things on here, you can make it as wide as you want so they're all showing.
It's similar to what you can do on your iPhone or iPad.
Right. And that was the whole idea when they actually, I think it was Windows 8, they started with this kind of a menu. And the whole idea was that they wanted to develop Windows to be a touch screen type menu or not. Depending on if you had a PC, you generally didn't have a touch screen, but if you had a laptop or you were on a tablet, and in those days they were trying to sell Windows phones using the Windows operating system, and it didn't work very well, and a lot of people didn't like it, and they wanted to go back to the old format. So now they've got both. So you can either look at things this way, you can look at them this way, or you can go back and just use your desktop. Somebody's trying to come in. Here comes Dave Gerber. So let's see, where were we? We were here. So any other questions about this? And as I said, you can move any of these around. So if I wanted to move everything up to that spot, I could. And these are in my productivity group. If I want to just bring this down, I can again have it here. So you can move these things around. You can resize them, have several in one grouping. And it's easy to find things if you remember that you've got them up here. So this PC, now I've got it also down here in my taskbar, and that's not, a lot of these aren't normally there. So let's say I wanted a Cronus True Image. If I right mouse click, I can pin to start, but if you look at more, I can pin that to the taskbar. And what I do, now it's down on the taskbar. And it will be pinned there. So if I close this, it's still there. It's not open or anything. Now, why would I want something in the taskbar and not just have it as a link on my desktop? Well, on my desktop, anything that's on here, I've got to click twice to open it. If it's down here, I only have to click it once. If it's on your taskbar, you click it once and it opens it. So that's why if I click this copy this PC, if I click it one time, it opens it. See, do I have that on here? Let me see if I have it. Doesn't look like I have it here. But anything here, if I click it one time, let's see, something that's not going to take forever to open or whatever. Well, let's take everything. If I click everything here, I clicked it once and nothing happens. I've got to click it twice and it will open it. If I come down here and I click it, because I've got it also in my taskbar, if I click it once, it opens it immediately. So that's the nice thing about the taskbar. If you got too many things on the taskbar and you don't want it there anymore, if you right mouse click it and you say unpin from the taskbar, it goes away.
Can you move them around on the taskbar?
Oh, absolutely. So let's say I've got my Firefox here and I want it over here. I just click and drag it. And it will remember that's where it's going to be now. If I want to move it back here, I can. And you'll notice there's, go ahead.
Can you put a document on your taskbar?
Oh, absolutely. Let's let's see. Not as easy, but you can, I believe. Let's open up my Word, or let's see. Yeah, it's probably the best way to do it. Open Word. And here's an example. Okay. And I'm going to say pin to list. That's to the list. So let's open it. And then I'm going to file, and I'm going to save as. We're going to keep the same name, but instead of having it here, we're going to come here. We're going to say we want it on the desktop. So it's going to the desktop. It's going to be called example, and it's a Word document. So let's go ahead and save it. Okay, and close it. Now we got to find it, but it's should be, there it is right here. I'll move it over here to the center. So there it is. If I right mouse click that, let's see if there is a place to new open. There is a way in which you can do that. Let's see if I just bring it down
Hewie?
here. Yeah, I
Hewie?
just bring, yes.
Let me make a suggestion. If you, I lost my train of thought here. Isn't medication wonderful?
Yes. Okay, while you're thinking of that, let me go ahead. I'm just going to right mouse click it and drag it down to the bar. Notice it's saying pin to Word. If I click that and let it go, unpin from taskbar. So it's pinned it. It should have pinned it.
What if you look at the
Oh,
file
it pinned it
location?
in a Word. Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dave.
Just do a search for under file location. You know, when you found the document, and then you select file location.
Okay, it's on the desktop right now. So if I right mouse click that, I'm not sure if that's what you mean.
No, it's not.
Okay, do you want me to open the document?
No. Oh, jeez.
Open File Explorer.
Go back to when you hit the start button, and then you opened
Okay.
up. You saw the sample file. Where you first saw the sample file.
The example, yeah, that was, it was in Word.
Okay. Now, if you right click on that and then open file location, and then right click on the document and see if that gives you the option to pin it to the taskbar from there.
Well, I'm not sure if I'm in the right document here. I wasn't. Okay, let's go here. File location. For some reason or other, it's not doing it right. Okay, pin this item to the list. Share. I am not, there is a way to do it. I am, but here, open file location, when I'm doing that, it's actually moving it. It's not opening it in the right spot. It's trying to open up a PDF for whatever reason.
Mhm.
Pinned. There is a way to do it because I've done it, I think, but I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you.
But you can have it on your desktop, like
Yeah, I
I've got
did.
here,
Yeah.
and then open it from there.
Yeah. That's what I do.
Okay.
But I just thought it might be helpful to put it on the taskbar.
Dave, welcome to your own forum.
Yes.
Everybody's wishing you the best.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you all. It's been a long, strange trip.
Any other questions or comments? All right, be thinking of questions for the next meeting in 2 weeks. Hopefully Dave will be able to run the meeting. If not, I will. if I can, if I'm available. If not, we would have to probably cancel the meeting, but and the way Dave set it up is there's another registration for that meeting. So be watching the STUG newsletter and sign up for that. It's not going to be this same link to get to the meeting.
No.
Any other comments or questions? We've had an hour. I hope I've helped you in some way and at least given you a few suggestions and a few ideas and cleared up a few things.
No, but thank you very much, Hewie.
You're more than welcome.
Have a good day. Gotta leave.
Yep. Yep. All right. I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We'll
Thank
see you next time around.
Bye-bye.
See you too.